Hi everybody, it's Ann Patchett at Parnassus Books, and it's Friday, and if you haven't read this book, it's new to you. Okay, so I was having a conversation with a writer recently named Ann Slater, who lives in Tokyo. And Ann and I were talking about many different things, and then we started talking about what we do when we can't sleep. And I have the things that I do when I can't sleep, and she has the things that she does. And she said one of the things that she does when she can't sleep is she goes to her grandmother's house in her mind. And she walks in the door and she goes through every room and she looks at all of the objects. And that night, I couldn't sleep, and I did it. And it was so beautiful. I loved my grandmother. It was just so meaningful to walk through her house. But then the next night I did it again, and then I did it again. And every time I walked through the house in my mind, I could see more things that I hadn't thought to remember the first time. And I found it calming and beautiful and really loving. And it made me think of this book, Little Heathens by Mildred Armstrong Kalish. And this came out in 2007, and I read it in 2007. And the reason that I read it is because my friend Liz Gilbert wrote this rave front page New York Times review for the book. And then it went on to be listed as one of the New York Times 10 best books of the year. The subtitle is Hard Times and High Spirits on an Iowa Farm During the Great Depression. Okay, my grandmother, Eva Nelson back then, grew up during the Depression in Kansas. So it's very close to her story and the stories that I remember her telling me when I was a child. But one of the things that I love so much about this book, and Mildred just died a couple of years ago, she was over 100 when she died, is that it isn't about relationships. It's not about scenes. It's really not even so much about people. It's a book about living on a farm. And in one chapter, she talks about all the animals and all the chores and jobs. And then in another chapter, she talks about the gardening and the farming. And in another chapter, she talks about the house and the outbuildings. And then she talks about cooking and washing and ironing. It's just the way my grandmother talked. It wasn't emotional, and it wasn't about how she felt about the work or how she felt about the time. It's just facts. It's just, we did this, we did this, we did this. It's so interesting and soothing and really well written, small. Anyway, I picked it up to look at it, and I ended up rereading the whole thing again just because I enjoyed it so much, and I bet you would enjoy it too. Thanks so much.